The world is shifting towards a greener future, yet few countries around the world are still using non-renewable sources of energy. Although in the UK, the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has announced a consultation on relaxing rules that effectively ban new onshore wind turbines in England after pressure from within his own party. The move was welcomed by various Tory MPs, and one of them being Simon Clarke, who was the most vocal in the Tory party. The move was also welcomed by campaigners and energy firms who praised the change of heart. They said that it will help in reducing the country's dependency on fossil fuels. As Sunak, who had opposed relaxing the ban on onshore farms in his campaign to become the British leader just a few months ago, and has said that he wanted to focus on offshore wind. And after some in his Conservative party have been demanding onshore turbines should be allowed where there was local consent, and said that they would be seeking to make changes to a proposed legislation going through the Parliament. The government in a statement said that it would begin a consultation to see how local authorities could show local support and could be demonstrated. The government said the consultation, which would also seek views on whether local communities who back new projects should get lower energy bills. The department also said certain protections would remain in place, so national parks and the green belt would stay turbine-free. While according to some British media, it was the second U-turn in 2 days by the British Prime Minister, coming after the government scrapped plans to impose mandatory house building targets on local councils after dozens of Conservative lawmakers threatened a rebellion. Let's go straight across now to our correspondent Alex Izat, who's joining us from London. Alex, what more details can you share with us on this front? And there has always been this larger question over the UK's moves towards what it calls a greener future, and whether or not action can actually match the promises that are being made on paper.
You're absolutely right. There has been this constant talk about net zero and looking towards the future, but there hasn't actually been much change to try and get into that direction. Of course, you mentioned there that they will be tabling this discussion, but we shouldn't have the results until April next year. So it's quite a long time. So even though there's talk, Rishi Sunak has been really determined that we want to be energy efficient, independent. Actually, nothing can be done until spring next year, and then we have the summer. And then when will these potential onshore wind farms be built? Well, that's still up in the air at the moment. A lot of people are suggesting that these are really positive onshore wind farms. At the moment, there was a UK renewables statistic that came out in August that said 19 million homes are already powered by some of the wind farms, both on and offshore. So adding extra wind farms to the landscape will only be a bonus for people who are really concerned about this cost of living crisis, which is still going to likely be continuing until spring and onwards. Now, when we're talking about like renewables, the choices that are going to be on the amendments are still likely to be extremely strict. So it's not going to be a case of that these wind farms can just pop up anywhere. Locals have to have their say, and there has to be some area designated for them as well. Those who are against the wind farms suggest that it's a blight to the countryside. They also state that there are some animals that birds and bats may die because of wind farms as they're flying in. But in the positive, it seems that this is a step forward, that the country does need to push that UK renewables and to show that they are energy independent.
Right. Alex, we're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much for getting us up to speed with that second U-turn by the Rishi Sunak administration. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.